We are conquerors, right? More than the conquerors. So, good afternoon to everyone here. It's good hearing and seeing everybody. For those who don't know, my name is Oswaldo Mestri. I am the Director of Citizen Services with the City of Buffalo, here joined by the Board of Block Clubs of Buffalo and Erie County. I see the leadership is my partner, my good friend, Debbie is here. And so this is something, a block chat that we present, that we've started presenting really on the onset of the pandemic. And what we wanted to do is be able to communicate with folks and have this two-way information, one to help when we engage people. It's just not about physical engagement, but what we can also share and what people can share with us, right? And what we found out that there was some extraordinary, fantastic things that were people were doing in the community, and we wanted to be a conduit to that. And so today we continue that tradition. There were some thoughts like, oh, do we do this? Do we not? And whatever. But we wanted to continue this because there's some outstanding people out in the community doing some outstanding work. And today we're beginning the year in a great session here. I think this particular topic is not only relevant, but it's happening. When we hear about, human trafficking, when we hear about that, it's like, oh, you know what, this topical is relevant. But you know what? People forget that it's happening, right? And let's just keep it 100 and keep it real. And so I don't want to steal the speaker's thunder. I've been all around. I know people who know her, who speak very highly about the work that she's doing. But I think when we get a chance to hear about it, people are used to watching 60 Minutes or watching news and seeing that. That doesn't happen in Buffalo. But you know what? You'd be surprised how things happen, and it's right in front of you. And so I'm excited about this particular speaker. Lots going on in the city of Buffalo. We're dealing with this white stuff that fell down yesterday, snow. For the most part, people do understand. We're out there. City crews are out there. We have about 40 different assets, which we call trucks and things that are out there. A lot of people forget, as a city, as a municipality, we're still dealing with the pandemic with our crews as well. But they're out there. They've been out there all night. We have started. We Just a little tidbit, from my division, working with Public Works. Whenever we understand that there's a snowstorm, we look at the forecast. We're taking a lot of different things. And being in Buffalo, we deal with this thing called lake effect snow. And a lot of people, what does that mean? When the lake gets warm and you have a cold front coming over it, it produces a little more snow than normal. And it's that impactful snow that we have to deal, especially in the South towns, especially downtown where it's coming over. And so this band that's coming over is a very narrow band that has come through and it's hit Buffalo. More specifically, if I can give you, because I've been in meetings, it has hit downtown more so than anything. Downtown, near the old First Ward, around that area, is really impacted. And matter of fact, if you go up to Niagara Falls, very little of it is there, right? If not, they still got grass they're looking at, So as helpful and grateful, Mayor talked with the governor. We have state vehicles that are assisting us. When we first do this, we go into the primaries. What is a primary? The primaries are main streets that if there's an accident or there's an emergency that we have to be able to clear. Then we go into the secondaries and primaries, where we go around areas that have assets like hospitals and schools and community centers, those things. And then we'll get into some of the smaller residential neighborhoods, within that area too. And so late last night, we started going into the neighborhoods. And so we've asked people if there's a huge concern to call 311. We've been working very closely with Public Works, but they are out there. They're doing the very best that they can. And thank you for your indulgence. For the most part, people do understand it's Buffalo, and we do, we're a resilient city. The last thing I do want to ask is that, as a city of good neighbors, many of the residents do it, and they're mindful about shoveling in front of your house. And if there's a fire hydrant, unshovel right around there, right? So that, unfortunately, if there's a situation, you don't want the fire trucks to try to find a fire hydrant when it's right in front of you. You can uncover it. There's a bus stop that's there, being a good neighbor, and for the most part, people are doing that. But we don't want people to walk in streets, especially in some of our underserved neighborhoods. We don't want, mothers to be, with their strollers in the streets when we should be able to do that too. So it's really important. So that one effect, that one act of kindness, or if you're a homeowner, your responsibility. I keep it 100 with folks. Your responsibility. Some folks are not as fortunate as me. I like the snow. Well, I used to do the shoveling thing. I had to make that investment in that snowblower. I have a corner house, it's just no joke. But thank you very much. And people don't know that it is the homeowner's responsibility to shovel. And if you see that there's something chronic, we have building inspectors that will go out to remind people it is their responsibility to do that too. I just wanted to make that commercial. A lot of good things, again, are happening in the city. It's a new year. Um, we bring in that new, and we understand that. We see some of our outstanding partners that are here. Captain Tommy Champion. Our not just a good guy, but community police officer extraordinaire on board. And see, once I start naming names, I got MVP over here. I got this, that. I got everybody here. You start, pointing things out. But again, we will endeavor to do better. I know we've made this commitment from our division of citizen services to make sure that we are employing restorative practices into our engagement. We've done quite a few, and we're going to continue to do that again so that we understand what's going on in communities and we can share that and be helpful too. So without further ado, I just wanted to open up. I'm going to turn this over to Nicole, who's our chief administrative officer, but also does engagement as well. For those who don't know, Nicole, we're fortunate to have her. One of the special things about Nicole, she often reminds me, she has a background in mental health, and she is a champion, with the topic that we're talking about today. And it's always good to surround yourself as a leader and boss with those people, because they constantly are reminding you. And so thank you, Nicole. I'm going to let you take over the rest of the program. Oh, can't hear you.
Welcome and Happy New Year, everyone. So I only actually have a few quick announcements today before I introduce our wonderful speaker. I'm going to share my screen. Just let me know when you guys can see it. Is it coming up for you guys?
Yes.
Yeah.
So again, still, we have the emergency rental assistance program. In short, I know I say this all the time, but if you know anybody who needs assistance or you yourself need assistance, visit standupbuffalo.com or call 211, especially if you need help with their application. We're still doing recycling, curbside pickup, and all of that.
As this, I just wanted to state this too. Yes. We do know the moratorium is the date, so we've been pushing it back. But I do know that the state is offering another initiative very similar to the Stand Up Buffalo. Malika Lee, who is on here, who's with the Buffalo Urban Renewal Agency, and many of that organization is working with the state to help process it 6 months. And so we always talk about Stand Up Buffalo, but those who are behind with their rent, a utility bill, a user fee bill, any of those particular type of bills, they can qualify for that. They will go 6 months, back. So that's really, really important from the governor, along working with the state and the county. Again, a lot of times there's money out there. It's our job to make sure we let folks know about that and understand what the process is too. And so it's just not about standing on the corner giving it. There's a process. And so there are different organizations that are out there in the community-based agencies that will help you with that. Not everybody has access to an internet. Not everybody has that. And so we want to be able to help that, in that respect too. So Debbie, we're going to come back to answer that question. When we finish this, I may ask Malika just to jump on, and she can probably give a little more information regarding that.
Thank you. Again, for recycling, if you want any more information on what to recycle in electronic recycling, you can call the number listed on here or visit buffalorecycles.org for more information. There's also a program, the free apartment building recycling program, help keep the city clean and green. So this improves multi-family recycling systems by distributing the tools. And so if you want more information on this, you can also visit buffalorecycles.gov. Again, child with autism signs is now added to the list of roadway caution signs. There are eligibility requirements to apply. Call 311 or visit buffalony.gov. So now obviously it's snowing. We're still encouraging people who have not signed up for the Buffalo announcements to sign up for the public service announcements by texting join Buffalo to 30890. Or if you just want the parking updates in regards to the snow, especially text join parking updates to 30890, and you'll receive all of that information as it comes out. As always, there's the Talk of the Town with Mayor Brown every Sunday at 1 p.m. So this was the last show. And so it'll be every Sunday. You can catch us on Facebook or on WUFO or Power 96.5. Of course, as always, there's a list of jobs that are hiring. This will be featured on buffalony.gov/jobs, or you can also look on the mayor's Facebook page for the featured companies. We are accepting applications for AmeriCorps Vistas. If you are interested or know somebody who may be a good fit, please forward their information to myself, and I'll put my email in the chat box, or to Director Mestry, and we will reach out. So there's the Crime Prevention Tree Planting Initiative. And so this is happening in the spring and in the fall. For more information on this, you can reach out to the Special Project Manager for Crime Prevention for the City of Buffalo, Mr. Ron Dixon. His email is listed on the screen. And for more, he can give you more details on how this program will work and be rolling out as well. Lifeguards wanted in Buffalo, so you can register today for the Summer Lifeguard Certification and Training Program. This runs Saturdays, January 8th through March 5th, 8:30 to 4:30. And so there are job requirements for this, and the project is made possible through Project Play WNY, and you can apply at buffalopal.com. If you are looking to start a block club, you can contact the Board of Block Clubs. They do have an email, a phone number, Facebook, and Instagram, and they are very responsive in helping everybody to get a block club up and running. Just a few more left. The holiday food box giveaway. So this is today from 10 to 1. 20-pound boxes of fruit, vegetables, milk, and yogurt. So if you know somebody who needs one, send them out now to go get their box, or call the number and see what is available. And as well as the health and wellness Saturdays from 11 to 12. This starts on the 8th through the Resource Council of Western New York. And you can register for this by calling that number on there, and it's open to adults of all ages. Northland Workforce Training Center still has hands-on training opportunities and provides different various services such as career coaching, substance abuse, permanent job placement, and more. Visit northlandwtc.org to apply. As well as the Westside Promise Neighborhood is offering the Change Leadership Program, which is a self-paced digital program. And this program runs March 2nd through the 18th, and you can apply online for this. You must be 18 years or older. As always, we still know that COVID is prevalent in the community, so there is COVID testing available as well as vaccination sites. For more information on COVID-19, you can visit covid19.buffalony.gov, our own site, and there are various resources to be able to direct you to whatever you may be looking for on that website. And if you need emotional support or resources, you can use New York Project Hope to help you cope with COVID, sponsored by the Buffalo Urban League, provides information, education, emotional support, and more. And you can contact them on that number listed on the screen. They're available Monday through Saturday, or email projecthope@buffalourbanleague.org, and it is free, anonymous, and confidential. And lastly, as always, please follow us on social media at the Division of Citizen Services, at Buffalo Citizen Services, and our 311 Call and Response Center for various updates, on Facebook at Buffalo 311. And if you do not follow the mayor on Facebook, please follow him at Mayor Byron Brown, on Facebook as well. And so I finished with the
Good.
announcement. So I'm going to turn it back over to Oz to introduce our speaker.
Not a problem. Kelly, if you can just give me 1 second. I want to bring Malika up because I know this idea of making sure that we're connecting people who are in need with their homes. I just wanted to make sure that folks knew that. Malika, do you want to have any more information regarding that?
Yeah, so anybody who's looking for assistance with taxes or mortgage or rental assistance can contact 211. 211 will do an assessment to see what their needs are and to see what programs that they would qualify for, and then shoot out a referral to that agency. So if you know anybody who needs assistance, you can direct them directly to 211. Rental assistance with ERAP being closed is now open back up. We open back up the Stand Up Buffalo Eviction Prevention Program, and that's up to 6 months worth of rental assistance. So again, just make sure that if you know anybody who's in need of any assistance, have them call 211 to be assessed, and then we'll refer them out to one of the community-based organizations doing the applications. Thank you.
Good. Thank you, Malika. It's my opportunity and my pleasure to introduce our speaker. I spoke a little bit about this particular topic, but let me talk about our core mission, that when you are driven to do something that is in your heart, because you've seen firsthand aspects of it. Kelly is that particular person. I've talked to a couple of people who know her and know it's her personal mission and drive to bring a general sense of awareness to this, right? And anybody can go all across the country and talk about this, but to talk about it in Buffalo, and really make it real and make it very authentic, takes a person of great courage and character to talk about this. And so we thought it fitting to have this as our first speaker, because it's around us and it's real. And if we don't understand it, we don't recognize it, just like, we recognize what it is to walk or what it is to breathe. Sometimes it's right in front of us. And so I just don't want to say too much about it, but I want to let her speak. Not only has she been a champion on this, she is the founder of RAMP Global Missions, Project Mona House, and she's also with Freedom Center, and there's done a lot of extensive work on that. I'm going to be quiet and let her talk. I want to say thank you for coming on. We go up to 1 o'clock, but we usually stop short because the Board of Block Clubs gets on there, and we do a Q&A as well too. So thank you, Kelly.
Thank you so much for having me. I am excited to be here. Sorry for the low tone of my voice. Today is my last day of quarantine. And so I live on Humboldt Parkway in between Main and Parkside, right in front of the 198. So at any moment, you're going to hear sirens. You're going to hear, you don't know, horn, and you'll hear it. So I apologize for that in advance. So again, like they said, my name is Diane Galloway, born and raised here in this property in Buffalo, New York. My experiences allow me to travel all around the world and open orphanages in India, Nepal, Guatemala. Just recently opened a school in Pakistan in the middle of the pandemic, but even in last year, 4 years ago now, we opened Western New York's first and only restoration home specifically for women who've been victimized by human trafficking, and that is called Project Mona's House. And we have a good problem. We have run out of space again. And so we have residences in different parts of the city of Buffalo, New York. These residences are safe houses, so we cannot disclose the locations. Um, and since we're running out of space, I want us to open the nation's largest restoration home for human trafficking victims um, in Western New York, because if you know it or not, Buffalo was the last stop in the Underground Railroad. So freedom seekers of the past knew that if they could just get to our city, if they could just get to our region, then they would be able to experience freedom. And if you haven't heard, my team and I, we left Buffalo on May 1st of 2021. We drove an RV that none of us have ever driven before. It was hilarious driving that RV to Lynchburg, Virginia, and we walked for 50 days, 902 miles on the Underground Railroad, and we walked back to Buffalo. And we got here on Juneteenth, since we know that Buffalo has the second largest Juneteenth festival in the entire country, because it is my job and my goal to give every modern day victim of enslavement their own personal Juneteenth. And that means that I want them to experience their day of freedom. And so I'm proud that our city, about 700 people met us down at City Hall and walked the last mile from City Hall to the African American Heritage Corridor on Juneteenth and finished that. And that was our goal, to raise awareness. And the reason why we want to raise awareness is because the hardest part of my job, everybody, is convincing United States citizens that human trafficking happens not just in other countries, but right here in our community. And I talk to people from different ethnic backgrounds, and you have one ethnic background that says, "Oh, that doesn't happen to us, that happens to them." And then you talk to them, and then they say, "That doesn't happen to us, that happens to them." And so we work hard to let people know that, yeah, slavery back in the day, you know, I'm 36 years old. I'm only the third generation of my family to not be born on a plantation. But slavery looks different now, because you don't just have to look like me to be a victim of enslavement. You can be from a rich background, a poor background. You can be from the city. You can also be from a rural background. But human trafficking affects everybody. Um, as of today, it affects over 40.3 million people worldwide. It is the second largest crime on the planet, generating over $150 billion per year. And I'm actually honored that you allowed me to speak this first meeting of the year, because January is National Human Trafficking Awareness Month, and January 11th is National Human Trafficking Awareness Day. My team and I created something that was very specific to Western New York, and that was a film called Soul Next Door. I'm going to answer a couple questions and tell you more about our program. Nicole, if I don't know if I could just hit the share button. I just want to share the trailer. You're going to be able to see parts of Buffalo. I can? Okay, so I'm going to share. Um, I'm just going to go ahead and share this really quickly. And this is just our trailer, and I'm going to encourage you in your own time just to watch the film. It's just a short film, and it's about human trafficking in Western New York. And if you're a resident here, if you have any, if you care about the city at all, then this is something that you should expose yourself to. So here we go. Thumbs up if you can hear.
What do you think the real cause of the Civil War was? The root cause of the Civil War?
Slavery. It was like the controversy over slavery.
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 On the surface, it was to abolish slavery.
I didn't know how many brought you from Africa. Now they're saying what they go. How the job.
The last slave was found in slavery.
I really don't know, but I'm like, if I had to guess, it would probably have been after the war, so sometime in the 1870s.
Some 18 something. Some eight. I don't remember.
Well, I would assume 1863.
It was in the late 1860s.
Say 2005 probably was the most worst.
That was probably last November to December. That's when they would not allow me to sleep. I would probably get to sleep maybe a couple hours a week. So they fed me drugs to keep me going. So just, I don't know, living in, it's weird to talk about it sometimes.
5 years old, I was taken away from my mom.
You know, I wasn't anything. They told me that I am a ghost. I don't exist. When I couldn't get any of the money for them, I would be punished very severely to the point where the people who went into the investigation in the house over in Depew, they said my blood was literally everywhere on the walls and floors in that apartment building.
Wait. Oh shit! Where is it at?
The most difficult part of my job when I'm in the United States is convincing United States citizens that this crime not only happens overseas, but it's actually happening in your own backyard.
I was born in Buffalo, New York.
So I went to Sweet Home High School.
A lot of times people think that, oh, well, even if it is happening in the United States, it's not happening to United States citizens.
Is it the immigrant stuff this time?
Illegal immigrants that kind of get stuck.
I'm just like, man, it is happening. I wish you could see what I see every day.
It's like, it's a really hard thing to kind of talk about because it really does feel like slavery. You know, you don't have a say. You don't get to be your own person.
I just felt like my little stuff to fight for herself. If I couldn't be happy, I at least want her to be happy.
I don't think that any community, whether it's Western New York or any community across the state or nation, really understands how prevalent it is.
I thought that that number, 26 million. And then now they put out the numbers that says over 40 million victims worldwide. That number, if we don't do something now, it's just only going to increase.
The entire state and nation is now learning what human trafficking is.
I guess slavery, like as an official thing that was recognized by the government as legal, ended in the 1800s, I think. But slavery, which is forcing people to do things they don't want to do and for financial gain, did not end.
There's a difference. No, really, there's not. I mean, it's still a forced servitude without any kind of fair compensation or basic liberties that are applied. So no, I don't see really any difference between the two.
Do you consider, I mean, what you went through or what people are going through in similar situations, do you consider that slavery?
Yes, it is.
So as you can see, that film was filmed right here in Buffalo, New York, with women from our community that Project Mona's House has served, helped, or housed in one way, shape, or fashion. And so in lieu of time, I just want to go over just a couple of things. So we help women and transgender men who are in need of housing, ages 18 and over. If you know somebody who's a victim of human trafficking, basically we walk them through an intake process, and if they want to commit to our program, which is a 18 to 24-month program, we believe in providing long-term housing, and one thing that we want to make sure that we do is create atmospheres that are conducive for women to come in as victims, be transformed into survivors, but by the time they leave, that they're overcomers. My goal, when I started Project Mona's House, is that we would create an atmosphere where women could be contributing and functioning members of society. That means that they don't have to always depend on assistance, but we want to empower them. So several of our women are business owners. Some have gone back to school. All now have identification. Whenever a woman came in to live with us, they didn't even have simple things like ID. Or a driver's license. And so we partner with local driving schools to make sure our women have a certain level of independence, which does include driving. Out of the 32 women who have graduated from our program, 30 are now homeowners within the city limits of Buffalo, New York. We also work with girls ages 7 to 18, high school seniors. And the reason why is because I felt like the work that we were doing for years was too reactive. I wanted to take a more proactive approach. And so, how do you continue to save women? You save girls. And so, we have a program that we call our Young Women's Empowerment Program. In the middle of a pandemic, we have 15 girls right here from Buffalo, New York, who are now published authors. They wrote their own autobiographies in the middle of a pandemic, and a part of being free is being able to tell your story your way. We have a goal of publishing 100 girls from this community this year. They have workshops and classes and things that allow them to be empowered. They have a declaration that says, and it starts off like this. It says, I am an empowered girl. Watch and see how I change the world. So we expose them to people and organizations and programs that will allow them to become empowered girls who will go on and change the world. And we find these girls in very vulnerable places. So these are girls who are statistically more likely to be trafficked, experience teenage pregnancy, who live at or below the poverty line. And we go into these vulnerable populations, do our work so that we can make them less vulnerable and actually world changers. We have a saying that we use at Project Mona's House, and it says that the eye does not see what the brain doesn't know. And that's why it's so important for us to have conversations like this, because some people just don't know that human trafficking or modern day slavery, the buying and selling of a body, is something that happens in our nation, in our state, in our city, or even in our neighborhood. And so I allow our women to tell their own stories so that you can believe them, or you can become a volunteer and you can assist them. And so one thing that we want to do is we believe that awareness is the first form of prevention. So if you have an organization, your block clubs, or a population that you believe needs to hear this message, whether it's children or adults, we want you to know that we do human trafficking 101 seminars for free. And that talks about what is human trafficking, how to spot it, how to stop it, and how you can join the fight. Imagine Buffalo being a city where nobody has to worry about being bought or sold, where a child does not have to worry about, am I going to be sold for sex? Am I going to be manipulated into selling my body and have to live with this trauma every single day? What if Buffalo was a place where slavery didn't exist? And the only thing that Buffalo was known for is that this would be a place where people can build their lives and be free. I think together we can build that type of Buffalo where freedom is accessible for everyone. We also have groups. So in our Freedom Center, which is located in the bottom of the 8 Days of Hope building at 852 Kensington on the corner of Kensington and Park Ridge, that's where we operate our groups, not just for women, but also for girls. We don't just help women who've been victimized by human trafficking, but we also have groups of women who've been victimized by any form of sexual violence and or assault. And so if you have any questions about anything, or you want to participate, or you want to set up a free training session for the people in your demographic or your population, the people that you have relationships and networks with, or even if you want to take a tour of the Freedom Center at 852 Kensington, just email us or give us a call. Our phone number is super easy. It's 795-MONA, MONA. Or you can go to our website, and I'll put that in the comments, but it's www.projectmonashouse.com. And you can join arms with me, lock arms with me in the fight against modern day slavery. And you can become modern day abolitionists like myself and my team. So does anybody have any questions, any concerns, or anything that I can help you understand more clearly?
We are a pretty intimate group, so I'm going to let, if anybody jumps on, Kelly, you and I are neighbors. I live on Humboldt and Loring, so I do understand the you know, the expressway right there. And you're getting a lot of hand claps. I'm going to start off with the first question. I know you talked about being modern day abolitionists, but directly, how can people assist you? I know you want to be kind and say, "God, please join me," and whatever, but is there ways that people can even directly help you monetarily, or maybe have the organization do a fundraiser or do something like that, and maybe they can maybe just talk to you offline? Are those avenues open to you?
Absolutely. So I'm changing my speech from saying that we're a small nonprofit with a big impact to a growing nonprofit with a growing impact. And so, of course, we need finances. Right now, we're in search of volunteer grant writers. Right now, our goal is to raise $1 million so we can complete phase one of our project to build the nation's largest restoration home for human trafficking victims, housing 125 women and their children. So right now, we cannot house women that have children because we can't have children in the residence. And so there's a whole demographic of women that are born and raised in our community or find themselves as new residents to our community, and we can't assist them in residential services that they need. And so right now we just kicked off our fundraising campaign at our annual gala December 17th, and that is to raise $1 million by Juneteenth. And so we're looking for different organizations, friend groups, fraternities, sororities, or businesses to commit to at least $8,000. So if we get 125 of those groups to commit to a minimum of $8,000, then we will have reach our first phase of our goal. And so that project is called the Buy a Bed campaign. And so in addition to that, you're like, hey, Kelly, I can't do the 8,000, but we do have our Freedom Network where we're just asking people, at least 500 people in the Western New York area, to commit to at least $1 a day, which is just $30 a month, you know? And so if you can work that into your budget, you'll be a part of our Freedom Network. And we have the women themselves have planned like wonderful things for people in that network. And so we need money, we need bodies, and we need land. And so that we can build our new campus.
Great. Any questions? I know I saw a lot of people nodding. Okay.
Oh, sorry. So, there was a question about volunteering and what is a volunteering process like? Do people go online? Do they email you? How can they become a volunteer?
So our volunteer process is it's super easy to follow. You go to www.projectmonushouse.com and you click on events. On the event page, you'll see two things pertaining to volunteers. In order to be a volunteer at Project Bonus House, you number one have to go through orientation. That's where you learn about the history of our organization, what it is that we do, and different ways that you can put your hands to the plow and help us in modern day slavery. Then after that, you go through a 4-hour training with me on what is human trafficking, how to spot it, how to stop it, how to join the fight, and how to actually look at a situation and find out just even off the surface, like, is this trafficking? And so we teach that, and then you get to work.
Anybody else?
I do. I do. Where did you get the name to name it? Was it after somebody or was it somebody you knew?
So, after I opened my children's home in India, so I was living in India for 7 years, and those children that I still currently house there, they were orphans, children who were victims of religious persecution, and then trafficking victims. I felt really led to work with women who had been victims of human trafficking, but I had absolutely no experience working with women. My work had only been with children around the world. And so I applied to work with at that time, the world's largest anti-trafficking organization called A21. And they only picked about 6 to 8 people to work with them a year from around the world. And so it was a competitive process, and I was chosen. So I moved to a city called Thessaloniki, Greece. And that's where I met a woman named Ramona who was trafficked from the Dominican Republic into Turkey. She thought she was going to be a homemaker making $15,000 a year, and she was going to open a taxi company with her husband. They had 3 small children in Dominican Republic, and it turns out that they was forcing her to work in a brothel. The blessing is that was during the 2015 Syrian refugee crisis. So along with other refugees, she found herself in Greece in a refugee camp. They realized, they knew the signs of human trafficking, so they knew that she didn't belong there. And so they let us know. She moved into the safe house that we had in a nearing suburb of Thessaloniki. And one day I just had a conversation. I was the only volunteer there who could speak Spanish. So I was automatically her translator. And so I talked to her one day, and honestly, in conversation, I realized how ungrateful I was, how much I took life for granted. And during that season of my life, I just found every reason to complain. And just a couple conversations with Ramona really changed my worldview. And when I think of her story and all that she's gone through, and we still talk every week, she to me is the embodiment of hope. And I think in order for our communities to change and even our world, people need hope. And so I named Project Mona's House after her because the one thing that I want to make sure that women have is that if you have if you are alive today, I believe that you've already survived 100% of your worst days. And I think hope is what allows women and people to keep trying every single day, despite what has already happened in their lives. And so Project Mona's House really is a house of hope. And I got that message from Ramona. And that story is in more detail on our website. Because people always like, well, who is Mona? And sometimes I walk around Buffalo and people like, hey Mona. And so I'm like, oh, what's up? I know my name is Kelly, but I know they mean I know what they mean. So but to me, Mona, the name Mona and the word hope are synonymous.
Great. Any more particular questions out there?
I just had one.
Yes.
Hi, Kelly. How are you? Thank you so much for that wonderful presentation. I mean, it was so much more than a presentation, but I just wanted to ask, because you said there's an 18 to 24-month program, and you had 30 graduates already, or 32. Is there an age limit to our criteria where you have to be a certain age to come into that program to complete it, and do all of your residents who come through the Safe House want to do it? Or have they done it?
So we've only had in all the years that we've been open, we only had 2 women not complete our program. One was because of addiction. So we don't allow anybody to come. At that time, we didn't allow anybody to come into the house unless they were at least 30 days substance free. But we learned that that's not long enough. And so it's other amazing organizations out here like Casa de Vida, who allow women to stay like 90 days. And so her addiction, she couldn't fight through the addiction. And so she didn't finish. And actually both of them had addictions. And so we changed our process when we're dealing with women who are in active use, and the time frame. So in order to become a part of our residential program, you have to be you have to be a victim of human trafficking, not like just at risk. So at risk means substance abuse, a refugee, undocumented international, experience of homelessness, and a plethora of other things. However, to actually live in Project Mona's House as it exists today, you have to be a victim, a certified victim of human trafficking, and you have to be substance free, and you have to be a woman or a transgender man, ages 18 and up. So as long as they fit that criteria, then they can move in our program. We should have more beds available in the spring. So we have, I think, 9 or 11 women graduating by May. And so because our program is so long, we don't always have beds open. So as soon as those beds open, they'll already probably be filled within like a week. So, and we are on the Polaris Project site. So that means that people who are trafficked anywhere in the United States, if they need a bed, they do call us. So we do have women who are not from this area, but it's just not safe for them in the areas that they have. So now Western New York and Buffalo is their home.
So is that Polaris site a national site?
Yeah, so Polaris Project is federally funded. They run the National Human Trafficking Hotline. And so if you feel like somebody's being trafficked, like you call 888-3737, 888, and they do like amazing job connecting resources all around the United States, all 50 states and Puerto Rico.
Thank you so much, Kelly, for that information, because that's going to help us be able to connect if we do know anyone who is suffering from this.
That's okay. Thank you.
Anybody else that have a particular question? Kelly, I just want to say thank you very much. Not just for your personal testimony, but for the work that you do. You talked about Buffalo being home and being the fabric of the lives that we live in. And I often say this, I tell people to dive in, find it a mission to give back. And there's many different things that we can do and to be passionate about it. And I think you sharing your not-for-profit, your experience, and your story allows us to help you, but us to find the help that is within us in terms of organizations. That's what Buffalo's about. You know, we often say it's a city of good neighbors, and I often say it's not about Buffalo, it's not about neighbors, but what is it to be neighborly? One of it is to recognize, right? And we don't just put our heads in the ground. I always say, you know, there's this expression about failing forward, right?
Yes.
And so we need to do it, you know, and experience it. And so the opportunity that you had to speak to Mona obviously made an impression upon you, and it was a call to service for you. So it's what we do, and how we should move. And I just want to say thank you. I think you provided us with information on how to help you, but I think it's also important to understand that, you know, this is not foreign to any one of us. And so again, thank you very, very, very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Nicole, for connecting me and for everybody that took the time to listen. So sign up on our website, subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you all again.
Okay, good. Well, Kelly, I'm going to, if you want to hang out a little bit, we do this block chat in partnership with the Buffalo Board of Block Clubs. There's several organizations all throughout the city of Buffalo. City of Buffalo is known across the nation for having one of the largest concentration of block clubs and neighborhood watches throughout the city of Buffalo. Individuals who volunteer their time to be block watch captains, to kind of, you know, help build community in a neighborhood, crime and safety, youth related. Sometimes it's just knowing your neighbors, all types of different things. But there's an organization that loosely, or even strongly, that tries to advocate and represent for them, to try to provide services. Debbie Lombardo is the president. Most of her board is on here. I'm going to give her some time, and then we are going to dismiss. Debbie, how you doing? Happy New Year's.
Hi, everybody. Happy New Year. Wow. All I can say is I don't know how I can talk after that. Powerful and enlightening is all I can think about at this point. Kelly, you're doing amazing work, and God bless you for that. We'll do what we can to help get the word out and, you know, let people know the amazing work that you're doing. Maybe one of our block clubs, once we can meet in person, you know, we can have you come and talk to us. I think that would warrant a whole meeting in itself. So we'll stay in touch with you, and we'll figure it out down the road. You know, it's nice to see everybody. Sorry it's on these little blocks again. I'm so tired of these little blocks. It seems like that's all we do, but hello to my team. I see Ellen and Cortasia on here, and it's so good to see every single one of you. Right now, Board of Block Clubs is just getting back started. It's 2022. We're working on some different things. I think our meeting this month will be via Zoom, and it'll be the last Tuesday of the month. And we do have a couple of speakers. Evans Bank is one of them, and we're just waiting to hear from the second speaker to make sure that they're still going to come. So we'll be doing it via Zoom, and hopefully, I'm keeping my fingers crossed, come March, we can go back in person and social distance and say hello and do the imaginable high five type of thing that we normally do, or the elbows, whatever, you know. But to my team, I thank you very much. 2021, we did really well. We had some great activity things going on, and we're hoping in 2022 to do the same. We're partnering with all the council members and of course Oswaldo and his team, and we're going to be back out on the clean sweeps this year, so we're looking forward to that. I'm a clean sweep junkie, and so it'll be nice to get out and do that. Just on a side note, and it's not Block Club related, but Oz, I don't know if you remember Lacey Dombrowski she used to come on the sweeps once in a while. She did a lot of tabling with you guys too. She worked with Fidelis at that time. Keep her family in her thoughts. She just passed away the other night, and it's hit a lot of us who worked with her in the community really hard. Myself, Dana, Sandy from you know, the Buffalo schools, a whole bunch of us, you know, we're a family. When we all work together with clean sweeps or do community events, you create these bonds with people that you know, they're just there. We're family, just like here. You know, we started this block chat with Oz and his wonderful team, and you know, I look forward to it every Friday. And so with that being said, I'm so sorry because it's really hit me hard. She was only 37 and
Wow.
a very good friend to me. So keep her family in your thoughts. Please stay safe.
Will.
Wear your mask. Do whatever you can do. But thank you for giving us this time. I'm so
No,
sorry.
no, Debbie.
Thank you,
No.
time.
No, Debbie, thank you very much. I think when we do the work, it's about us, you know, not about us, but about the people we serve. You're going to create intimate relationships and those attachments. And so loss is because you were connected. And so no one wants to lose someone. But if we believe in a higher power, we know that she is in a much better place, you know, and I'll keep it there, you know. So, it's a quote by Nelson Mandela, who a few weeks ago um, passed away. He says, it is better to lead from behind and to put others in front, especially when you celebrate victory, when nice things occur. You take the front line when there is danger, then people will appreciate your leadership. And so I'm going to give you guys back 7 minutes of your time. We're usually here to 1 o'clock. I will see you back next Friday. Be safe, be mindful, mask up. And not even just mask up. If you have the opportunity to get vaccinated and boosted, please do so. It is real that it's out here. Be safe with the snow. Be good neighbors. Move your car from one side to another so we can get down there and take care of it. And again, thank you, Kelly, for all that you do and the work that you do. Now that I know that you're my neighbor, I'll see if I can try to look out for you as well. I like the snow blow. I'm real good at it too. You guys take care. Take care. Take care.
Hey, great presentation, Kelly. It was awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Take care, everybody. Stay safe.
Take care. Stay safe.